Bonjour mes amis, hi guys, I have a very interesting collection review for you for Mr. D, whose anonymity we're gonna respect. And if you look at the collection picture here, you're gonna tell me that's gonna be an easy one up tick. He's got everything, ticking all the boxes, great Rolex base, two heavy hitters, and then one per brand motto there. For the other brands, really ticking all the boxes, job done, not much to say, just tell him he's got a great collection, and maybe down the line he's going to buy a Patek, and that will be it. But no, things are always a bit more complicated, and this collection exemplifies a bit all the things that go through our minds, the influence that sometimes weigh on our mind, and yeah, it's also a journey. Where do we go and what do we really enjoy? Sometimes we forget the things that we really enjoy. We buy things because other people talk about it a lot. So let's dig into it. It's a bit of a long email that he sent me, but I think it's good to go through each of the watch because they're all quite interesting. He started with two questions. Should I downsize, focus on higher quality pieces, which is already a great question that people who've been collecting for a few years are asking themselves. And second question, if so, help me choose which ones, which is always difficult when somebody asks you that, as we're gonna find out. So he says if he's always liked watches, and 10 years ago he chose between a Panerai and a Milgauss. He went for the Milgauss, and really happy with his decision. Blown away by the heft and the build quality. And yes, the first time you get a quality piece, for me it was a Speedmaster Racing from Omega. Yeah, the precision of the details, the contrast, the quality of the printing, the heft of the whole watch. You can feel you get something of from the $3,000 and up. You can feel you get something of great quality. These days he doesn't wear it all that much. Still loves it and uses it, and it's very similar to me. And I think many people who get the Milgauss. The problem with the Milgauss is that it's high polished on the bezel, the case, and also on the center links and the clasp, so it damages very easily. At the same time, it's had such a cool dial, but it's also a bit of a thicker watch, so not as comfortable as an Explorer, for example, or a Datejust. So I can understand why he doesn't wear it as much as before. I think if you're the cool kid and if you have like two watches and one of them is the Milgauss, you're gonna wear it all the time and wear the scratches proudly. If you have a bit of a collection and the Milgauss, if you look at the history of the Milgauss, they've all been very different and are all very collectibles, and there's no doubt that the ones of the current ones will remain collectibles, and probably this run is gonna come to its end quite soon. I have the Z Blue. You've got the black dial, but there with the orange things. You have the green, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the green crystal. It's bound to remain a collectible. So I think there's nothing wrong, to have a nice collection. And when you go to the office, when you're in a safe environment, wear your Milgauss, babysit it a little bit. I have nothing against it. But if you were to reduce your collection and have like two watches, for example, like a friend of mine has a dress Patek and a Milgauss. When he doesn't want to damage the Patek, he just wears the Milgauss to go to the bars, and yeah, doesn't think twice about it. It's cool. So then Mr. D got a Nomos, but it felt flimsy, didn't care for it, and he replaced it by a Submariner 14060M, which he loves, wore a lot, wears a bit less now. And it's interesting again because yeah, the value has risen, of course. It's a classic, but he says, is it too ubiquitous? Is it a cult classic that should stay in a collection? The thing with the Submariner, it is the watch by default. It is so well known, and in a way, is a watch that people who can't afford it would want to steal from you, and or might curse you for having it, and at the same time, people who have it might find it a bit too common. At the end of the day, it is a wonderful watch. It can be your only watch, and it's gorgeous. Like the Milgauss, just wear it responsibly. It's a classic. Keep it in the collection. Doesn't hurt as long as you love it. That's what matters the most. Then you get a bit deeper into the hobby. You up the ante, as you say, and you get the AP15. You wanted the AP15300, but you got offered the 15400. I think the 15300 was smaller, would have been wonderful, but you get the 400. You grabbed it, and you know, I had one in my hands, and I thought it was very big, 41 millimeters. In that type of construction, integrated bracelet is gonna wear big, and you realize that also it's beautiful when you remove the stickers, and after that it can only go downhill. So because you were not so fond of the format, you sold it, made a profit. Look, who's gonna blame you? You had the experience, and it ended well, positively for your bank account. Hey, no worry for that. It was the white dial, by the way, not the blue dial. But your taste of that Holy Trinity watch, you tell me, had the effect of pushing you back to more moderate, usable pieces. Again, very interesting and very common, I find. Sometimes, you know, you fly a bit too high, you get a bit too excited about spending extra money on a very nice piece, and then you realize you're not too comfortable wearing that sort of watch because of how much money you could be losing in the snap of a finger. I can totally relate and understand, and I think there's nothing wrong, you know, to enjoy something a bit less expensive. Not everybody feels comfortable with the price of a car on the wrist, at least not in all environments. So you still had the desire to get a dress watch, and after searching you went for a JLC Master Control calendar. So you say you took a bit of a gamble, bought from a dealer on Chrono24 from Germany. You know, they're very serious in Germany. Box and papers, 5,700 pounds, and you're very happy. The case has some thickness, but not too much, and you get a nice full calendar complication. Never bored of the quirky dial. Yeah, it's the previous iteration of the JLC. You love it, but you tell me you would love a Patek annual calendar, 5146G white gold, or P platinum, or 5205. So we'll come back to that. And it is interesting because in one way you didn't want to have a watch too expensive, so you went for JLC, and now that you have the JLC you realize that's quite a bit of money that you're not putting into a Patek. So we'll come back to that in a second. But before I forget, what are the things I want to say is that JLC, see, this model already looks a bit outdated because they've refreshed it, and they tend to refresh all their lines every few years. They just did it with the Master Controls, so not that many of them remain collectible, and that's the issue compared to the Patek, where there's a lot more consideration to the heritage, past and future. So let's talk about it more when we talk about the Patek. Now you tell me, with the Milgauss's polished center links, the rise in value of the 14060, and the sale of the AP, you wanted something more usable, and you wanted again an integrated bracelet watch, and went for the Tudor North Flag. Not everyone likes it, it's a bit Marmite, but you like the quirky dial, matte finish, ceramic, black bezel color, and pops of colors. It's not the most comfortable on the wrist, fairly hefty, and lacks a bit the bling factor of the Rolex. But it's a solid watch and very wearable. It's been discontinued now, and you wish there was a rubber bee for it to make it a bit more comfortable. But yeah, it's a cool, you see, Tudor, they either copy Rolex, and it's good, usually, or they go their own way and it's a bit crazy and nobody wants it. But with the North Flag, it's quite an enthusiast watch with a good following. I think they kind of went for something new, interesting, and quite unique in the whole Rolex family of models. I've never had one on the wrist. It looks a bit hefty indeed because of the construction there, sort of integrated bracelet, but yeah, nothing against it. I think it's a very good watch for sports. Beat a watch, go to the gym, mow the lawn, go for hikes and everything. Everybody needs a watch that's not too polished for those occasions. Then you wanted a blue dial in the collection, and this was around the time Grand Seiko started to hit the headlines. You read an article about the Grand Seiko 9F quartz movement, stumbled across the SBGV 225. So you pulled the trigger and bought one on the grey market. Get good service there. The watch is superb, so you love it. A beautiful watch, as you say. You like the hands. Yeah, the finishing of the Grand Seiko products is quite amazing. Wears well on the wrist, sits flush, but has enough presence, and you find yourself reaching for this watch a lot because it's so easy, because it's accurate and ready to go. That's the advantage of quartz. And you're even considering getting the same watch with the ivory dial. You considered getting the same with the ivory dial. Sometimes we get a bit too excited about a watch and we want to have two, one to wear, one to keep, or have two different dials. Whoa. Let's go easy, because there's a lot of other watches in the universe that we want to buy. So let's not put too much money into the same thing. And you even say it has a bit of Nautilus quality. I'm not sure about that. Okay. It's interesting again because so far, you have reservations about your other watches, but it's the quartz that you love the most, perhaps in some way, or at least the one that you want to wear the most, because it's comfortable. And sometimes, it's the most important thing. I used to have two Porsche 928. Those things. They were old, of course, and there was always a problem with them. And when I got a Toyota, I was so happy because it was working every day, and the CD player was working inside as well. So in the end, I was happier with those than with the fancy sports cars that I should have never bought when I was before my 40s. Then the Panerai itch had to be scratched. Why not? And you lost interest in the Luminar and went for the Radiomir. I love the Radiomirs. I love the look of them. And you went for a discontinued 190 with a GLC movement, hand wind. You don't wear it as much, but when you wear it, you fall in love. Yeah, it's a Panerai. It's a great look. It's a unique look. It's very much in your face. But you feel timeless design and simple dial of this particular reference. It's a bit slimmer than most Panerais, being a manual wind, and has 8 days power reserve. Cool. Nothing against a good Panerai, of course. Then you got the Rolex Explorer II from UK AD and the root beer from another AD in another country, both at retail. You didn't like the Explorer II before, but then you wanted to have a white dial Rolex. You came around to it in a big way, and you say, I like the watch, but I would prefer the previous model. Yeah, the 40 millimeters, but they're a bit older, so a bit less usable. You got to keep them in good condition, have them serviced properly, especially for water resistance. So you say it's a big watch, fairly heavy, and your wrist just pulls it off. Same for me. Your wrist is slightly smaller than mine. Yeah, it's at the limit. It's quite flat, but I feel like they went wrong with the 42, especially the white one. Everything is blown up. The hands, the indices. Those elements look a bit goofy, but it's still a very nice watch and very usable. And it's not too polished. And you think, anything bigger would look silly. You went for the new model because it has the bells and whistles, the better bracelet, but you realize that weight and comfort is definitely important. And yeah, that's why I wear my Black B58 on the weekend. You know, you just put it on, forget it, and it does the job always. So you feel the watch is also a bit unrefined for your taste. Yeah, it is, compared to the other Rolex. You know, it was always it was never in high favor, but I think it always sold well. I never saw one actually in an AD, even when you could find the Explorer and the Air King. So yeah, you don't enjoy setting the watch. It's a bit fiddly, of course, with the two time zones. People forget that when you have a bigger collection, you have to reset all those things. And you're considering the Vacheron Constantin Overseas Dual Time, but you have never tried it. Let me tell you, it's huge. It's much bigger than this. So forget about it. It's not going to be a better experience. Too bad, because the blue dial on that one is just it's just amazing. Really beautiful lacquer dial, if I'm not mistaken. But just way too big. I don't know why Vacheron went so large on this one. Maybe they couldn't fashion a smaller movement. It's too bad. Now, the root beer, you say it's simply beautiful and suits your skin tone well, but it's pretty flashy. You don't wear it too much. I think you're in the UK, so I probably exaggerated, and I was influenced by all those videos from Paul Thorpe when I was saying that you have to be very careful in the UK. Someone commented that it's only in certain eras. I think if you're a bit mindful of your environment, it's not everywhere that is dangerous. But yeah, it is flashy, and it's not a question of safety. I also felt when I had a two-tone Datejust 2 that it was a bit much. Sometimes you don't want to flash that kind of watch in front of everybody's nose or at the office, because it's just it's not that cool, you know. But you say your wife will kill you if you ever sell it. And I love the Root Beer, and I would love to buy one. And me too, it would suit my skin tone great. I tried the full rose gold one. It almost disappears on the wrist because it marries great with the skin tone if you're a bit tanned. Next, the OP39 bought pre-owned with the stickers. So you have the red grape. Red grape there. Tim Mosso just talked about it in a video. Check it out, the watch box. The dial is stunning, rare, dimensions are perfect, simple, no date, brushed composition, perfect for your preference. You say it's not the most versatile color in terms of outfit matching. The white dial version would be better, and you also like that one, but unless you can find a white dial one at a decent price, the boat has sailed. Look, no, the red grape is, I think, the one to get. I think there's also an orange one, isn't it? Orangey, mandarin kind of color. But the red grape, I think it's wonderful. And sometimes you want to match a watch to your outfit, but sometimes you don't. You want the watch to pop, you know. So just wear it in that spirit. Let the watch pop. You know, it doesn't matter. It's going to work with everything. Kind of reddish color works with actually every color. When you think about it, you can wear it with blue, black, brown. It's with white. It's fine. The white one, it would be a lot more visible. This one is a bit more discreet, but at the same time, it's very cool. I think it's going to be a collectible. Just be super happy. Forget about the white one. You know, again, we're never quite happy with what we have. We always think there's something better, and then when we get it, we miss the other one. You see, this collection is hitting all the sort of the cliches, but it's normal, you know. We all go through those phases. Just be happy a bit with what you have. Then something interesting, you were offered a longer Odysseus white gold. While you were looking at the longer one, you bought it. I don't know if I can sell it. You bought it. Let's just say you really wanted to enjoy it, but then it was not really for you. Okay, I'm going to present it like that, and you're considering perhaps selling it. So it's still unworn, and yeah, you think if you're going to get a longer, it should be a dress watch. I miss having a longer, you know, because what they do I love that they really care about the usability, and they try to solve problems with their calendars. while the Swiss, Patek mainly, don't even try, you know. We've done the same thing, we've done it like this for 50 years, why change it, you know? Everybody loves those little dimples on the side to adjust the calendars, don't they? Well, no, they don't. And Lange addresses it with one button to reset the whole calendar. So it's a desynchronized and synchronized at the same time. So you're considering a Lange 1 or 1815 flyback chrono. Yeah, wonderful watches, no doubt you could get that if you could. Now, about the watch market, interesting to talk about this now, because the Lange Odysseus still is hot. At first people didn't like it, now it's really impossible to get. Now the white gold on a strap, and it's a bit of an acquired taste. It's the three elements that make a watch tank really fast should the market go down. You know, if there was a big event like a Lehman sort of event, a big credit crisis somewhere in the world, and luxury watches would fall, this is the kind of watch, because of those three elements I just mentioned, that would tank faster than the Titanic. So be careful, and if you don't plan on loving it, wearing it, it's a beautiful Lange, you know. But if you're not gonna wear it, I wouldn't wait too long, you know. Of course, it's a risky asset. Like any risky asset, it could explode in price further. The equivalent AP and Patek are very strong. You know, the precious metal sports on strap, they're popular. But the Lange one is a bit of an eyesore, so very risky asset. It could keep on going very high, but if the market was in a tough spot, then it's one of the ones that I think would fall pretty quickly. Anyway, you say sod's law. Just after I parted with the 30,000 pound Lange, an AD called you to offer to you finally, after a wait of 4 years, a Daytona. Winner, Thermidor Lobster, Daytona, here we go. No brainer. You had to take a plane to go get it and get it at retail. Wonderful. You're preserving the bracelet, and you wear the watch on the rubber B strap. Well, if you love it, great. I don't like the way it looks personally, and you're in your mid-40s. I mean, when do you think you're gonna be able to enjoy those watches? You know, this is now. You know, who knows what can happen in the world that's gonna take us out, and who knows when the big C can take us out, or if you're not gonna get a stroke. You know, I wish you to live 100 years, but it's now that you have to live it. So if you love it on the bracelet, just sod it, wear it on the bracelet. It can always be polished. I know it's a scratch magnet, but anyway, you've got the Daytona, and you say, I'm gonna be honest and admit that I do enjoy wearing something that not everyone can get, certainly not at retail anyway. Well, that's the whole pleasure. People talk about watches as investments, but it's only an investment if you sell it. And once you sell it, you don't have the watch that everybody wants. The real pleasure is like you know, I have in front of me my Longines Legend Diver. People want the original one without the date and pay more for that. The pleasure is that I paid a lot less than retailed for it. So here with your Daytona, yes, it's vain, it's shallow, but I do also. Actually, on the wrist, I have the Datejust Wimbledon dial. People are asking me, dealers are asking me, how do I get it? And I'm like, you know, it's a Datejust. When did the world go so crazy that dealers ask you where you got a Datejust? You know. So yeah, let's come back to earth. Enjoy your Daytona. You got the one they want. Good for you. Just wear it. So you tell me, that's the collection and the backstory. I think it was interesting. I think every paragraph was interesting because it hits on something that we all might encounter in our collecting journey. So now you say you would like a rectangular shaped watch, and you're on the verge of putting the trigger on the new Longines Dolce Vita sector dial. You tried it on and it's perfect size, you like the character of the dial, nice curves, you consider the Cartier tank, the Centos and the Patek 5124, but you find the tank too flat. Man, you're talking about getting a Patek, you have a Daytona and a root beer, why would you go back to a Longines? I know you can enjoy watches at every price point, and I do. The Longines looks good. You know, Longines watches, they look good, but they're never gonna earn you anything, you know. And of course, it's not all about the value and the investment. And I have to admit that I looked at the picture of the Longines Dolce Vita, a name that's just the name itself. I wouldn't want to buy a watch named that, but it looks very good. But it, you know, anybody across the border here from Hong Kong in Shenzhen can make me a watch that looks like a Cartier or a Patek that looks very good. You can make very good looking watches for $1,000, $2,000. That doesn't mean that they are good watches. You know, yeah, I can't stop you from buying Longines, but if you're talking about buying a Patek, why are you gonna drop $1,000 or $2,000 into a bloody Longines? You know, it's just a flavor of the moment. And again, we all have that flavor of the moment. Oh, we like this look, we want it, and after 6 months, you're never gonna wear it. Especially if you get yourself the Patek of your dreams. And yeah, you haven't pulled the trigger because your other dilemma is to trim down the collection, and which is why you come for me for an advice, thinking of a 4-piece collection, maybe have a Patek, and you think if you get one, it's going to change your mind after the rest. You know, very interesting. Again, once you have 10, 12 watches, and you're a type of guy who likes to wear his watches, I can feel if you at the same time, you know the value of collecting, and you have to accept that. I think you have to accept that there are watches that you're not going to wear or wear less, and just buy them because it's beautiful or collectible, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then keep a core collection of watches that are very useful and wearable. So you can have a core of 4 or 5 watches, and then on the side a few collectibles. I am doing that, but I understand that it's you feel weary sometimes, and also there's a service cost that you're going to have to take into account. But there's also a beauty in having a short collection that addresses everything you love, and you forget about the ones that are nice but are not really the same levels as the other ones. So again, great theme here that we all feel that I think there's beauty in having less, sometimes having more. Just you have to realize that you've enjoyed those watches. Just sell the ones that you don't feel are as important. You say you think you have to keep the Daytona and the root beer. If you have to think, I'm worried about you. But again, I don't want to be the guy that says, oh, Rolex and Patek. Although it is not a bad idea, you know, and you can never be proven wrong if you go that way. And then probably you need one to wear every day. I would wear the Daytona every day if I had one. Let me know your thoughts, and thank you. Keep up the great channel. Well, thank you so much, Mr. D, for asking me this review, sharing it with everyone. I think we've already hit on so many of the important things that every collector goes through. And yeah, it's hard to decide for you, but the way I see your collection, the quality of the pieces, the way I would go, honestly, I would keep the Daytona, the root beer, the red grape, the Submariner. I would wear those pieces. I wouldn't sell now the Milgauss. I think it's a very cool watch. Enjoy it from time to time. Preserve it. Don't worry, it can always be polished, but just don't have it polished. And down the line, I think it could earn you a coin if you decide that you have too much value into your collection and you want to reduce. But for now, keep it. I'm doing the same thing with my Milgauss. I wear it here and there. Very enjoyable, very cool watch. I feel so cool when I wear it. The Explorer II, I can feel you're not in love. It's a bit too big. You already have the Tudor. While it's hot, I would move out of the Explorer II. Get some money back from that one. Keep the Tudor for your outdoor activities. Now, the Panerai, look, classic look. Probably, I don't know how much it cost. Probably didn't cost you too much. I can't decide for you that one. I like it, but at the same time, I would wear the root beer all the time if I had the two watches. So I wouldn't wear it over the other ones, but it is a very different look. It is cool. It is nice to have a Panerai, and you can enjoy the different straps on it. But the Grand Seiko quartz, I don't understand why you want that, and I think I almost want to force you to sell it, because Grand Seiko, yeah, tomorrow they're gonna make a quartz that's accurate for 1,000 years. Well, that's the whole point of the beauty of what we're buying and considering here with the Patek, is that they can make a watch that runs plus minus 1 or 2 seconds a day now, with just little wheels turning, and no battery, just you winding it or shaking your wrist. That's the whole beauty of it. I know the Grand Seiko wears well, it's well polished. Personally, if I would never wear that, I mean, I would enjoy it for a while and then I just move on. If you can move on without losing any money, I think you have better things ahead of you. And sorry for the big fans of Grand Seiko quartz. To me, it doesn't have any charm. I'd rather have a Seiko, like a King Seiko, or either a Saab 033. I think it's more cool. And then the JLC, I think it has aged quite a lot, that look. And now let's come to the interesting part, the Patek. You're talking 5146 G. Discontinued is my favorite, with the white dial. My friend has one. I love it. Every time I see one, I've looked at the other dials, and the other metals. My favorite one is still the white gold, white dial. It's not boring at all. It's a great one. It has the lume, it has the power reserve, the moon phase, but you need to wear it a lot or keep it on a winder because it's really annoying to reset every time. So be aware of that. Servicing will cost a bit more than the other watches as well. But honestly, I would get that, see how you feel about it, and then get rid of the JLC, or if you need the money up front, just sell the JLC if you can. So with the money of the JLC, please, the Grand Seiko, and I don't want to force you to sell a watch that you love. If you love the Grand Seiko and you need a quartz, hey, why not have a quartz? Yeah, and if you're gonna have a quartz, might as well be the Grand Seiko. So, and it's a blue dial. Okay, fine, keep it. Sell the JLC, sell the Explorer II. Put that into a 5146. You're considering the 5146P. I don't think you need to pay the extra. You look at the 5205. I think it's a bit heavy-handed. I mean, on the side is great. Those sculpted lugs are very cool. I prefer a bit more the 5146. I really love the 5396. Sector dial will have a bit more of an Art Deco look, something that you can grow into loving. And the non-sector dial, those are amazing and the closest to the classic Perpetual 3449. Look it up, 3449. Except that the lugs are rounded on the 5396. But if they had put straight lugs, it would have been amazing. But it's a beautiful looking watch. No lume, no power reserve though on that one. But that one just blows out of the water. Your JLC, you'll see, and it's going to be much thinner. But now, if you're also interested into collecting and a Patek annual calendar, something that's different and quite modern, I would like you to buy the 5235G. 5235, it's the only regulator model. The G is discontinued. It took a while for them to manage to build the movement after they had announced it, actually. but it's unique. It has a unique bit rate. It's a unique movement only for that reference. Now they have a rose gold reference, but I would go for the white gold with the gray dial. When you have it see it in person, you have to see it in person, okay? Don't trust the pictures, the videos. See it in person. You'll be amazed by that by the dial. And it has also, we were talking about the 3449, that kind of case shape and the straight lugs. It comes on a blue strap, which works with every outfit. It works with a dress outfit. It works with casual. It works with blue, with brown shoes, black belt. Works with everything. Has a cool buckle, very simple. And you have your annual calendar. There's no moon, so you don't have to reset the moon. So it's quite a bit easier. And the watch has modern stance, so it's a very, very cool. And the movement is just with the micro rotor is amazing. So that's the first one I would get. It's still, I think, at a good price. The 5146 used to be very affordable because of the market. Everything is so expensive now. The prices are a bit closer to the retail levels. So careful again. Make sure you love the watch, because if the stock market was to tank and everything, the prices will get softer. So if you can get a great deal, I would say, I'm taking my calculator, around the 225,000 Hong Kong dollar, which is 29,000 US dollar. That was the sweet spot to get it. Now they're a bit more expensive than that. And the 5235 is quite a bit more than that. It's more around 300,000 Hong Kong dollar, which is going to be closer to 40,000 US. But it would be a very stunning watch. And then you would have the Patek, the Daytona, root beer. You would have still your Milgauss for collecting. You would definitely want to have your Submariner and wear it loud and proud. You only live once, and you're already in your 40s. Half your life is behind you. Don't forget that. And keep the red grape, and maybe keep the Panerai, and really maybe if you love it, keep that Grand Seiko. But maybe after you get the Patek, you will not care for it anymore. Or maybe you can give the Grand Seiko, keep it for a kid or a nephew. Pass on the love of watches, and I think you're really gonna enjoy the experience of that Patek. And of course, you talked about longer annual calendar. I had one, very practical, great. I chose it over actually the 5235 myself. Longer one, very, very cool as well, but it's a bit more of an architect's kind of watch. I find it, I like it, but I don't know if I like it as much as the Patek. The Patek has a certain charm, the case, the dials, that I love the longer at the same time, but I prefer the overall Patek look and history, even though the watches are not as practical as the longer. And of course, you were talking about the 1815 flyback chrono. Yeah, of course, love it. No date, easy. The datograph would be more expensive and have a date, but quite a bit thicker and heavier. But I think they really nailed it with the 1815 chrono. It would be great for you to start with maybe a Patek annual, and then long term add the 1815 chrono. I think that would be super duper. So guys, let me know what you think about this great collection as is. It could stay here, but we always want to make things a bit more difficult for ourselves. That's the pleasure of the hobby. But thank you so much, Mr. D, for sharing your collection with us, allowing me to address all those interesting themes and issues we face. Let's remember that we should not have any issue. We're so lucky. If anyone had any of these watches in your collection, they should count their blessing. It should always be fun. Thank you guys for watching. Share your comments, give us a like, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye bye.